So you're moving to Manhattan, Kansas, and you don't know what to expect whenever you get here. Well, that's perfect. In this video today, we're going to go over the 9 things that nobody tells you when you're moving to Manhattan, Kansas. What's going on, everybody? Kyle Powers here with Haven Real Estate Group at Keller Williams One Legacy Partners. K-State grad turned contractor turned real estate agent and investor. Today, we're going to hit the 9 things that nobody tells you whenever you're looking to move to Manhattan, Kansas. And if you stay till the very end, we'll go over 2 bonus items that you probably should know, but not as big of high points that I'm going to hit on there. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and support our channel by hitting that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you get notified of any future content, and give us that like because it helps us out getting this channel out to everybody that needs to see it. All right, jumping right into it. Number 1, first thing that you guys need to pay attention to are Fort Riley noises. No, that is not Thor, the god of lightning. No, that is not thunderstorms. No, that is nothing else other than Fort Riley practicing their bombing and practicing their artillery range shots and everything that way. And as you will find out when you move here, Fort Riley does have a lot of practicing. Usually it's during the summer times that I hear it most, but you'll see there's a bunch of, as you move into town, there's literally a noise map over Manhattan that you have to be disclosed to whenever you're selling real estate or buying real estate in town, that if you're in the Fort Riley noise ordinance or Fort Riley noise zone. So there will be a lot of loud booming, a lot of loud loud things that you would be thinking, number 1, that it's thunder and lightning and stuff coming down when it's a blue sky out or it's a starry night out. But don't worry, it's just Fort Riley. My son will be able to tell you very well. He always tells us all the time, don't worry, Mom, it's just Fort Riley bombing. Okay, son, you're right. That's exactly right. So number 1 on our list is Fort Riley noise. Again, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of things that they've been telling me that's our freedom. And it is right. That's right. That's exactly what it is out there. They're practicing, making sure they're good at what they're doing there. So number 1 is Fort Riley noise. Number 2 on our list of items that you guys need to be aware of whenever you get here is traffic. Now, I'm going to give you 2 sides to the traffic coin. I've polled a lot of people and a lot of things, so that's where a lot of this list is going to come from, but this one came up quite a bit. Traffic. One side, the good side of the coin, is it is nothing compared to even Kansas City, let alone San Francisco, LA, Denver, New York City, or anything else like that. So please understand that it is nothing compared to those cities, because you still can, on a busy day, you still can get across town in 15 to 20 minutes, across the entire town, not just a couple blocks. So I will say, comparative to a lot of the bigger cities and like metropolises or whatever you want to call it, traffic is definitely way lighter. But on that other side of the coin, we do have a lot of traffic where it is students, or game day traffic is pretty thick if you're going through Kimball Avenue, which is one of the main drags that goes right by the K-State Stadium. So traffic in that sense of it, probably need to pay attention to where you're going and that part of it and what day and everything there. Because if it's an away game, it doesn't matter. If it's a home game, there are tons and tons and tons and tons of vehicles out there tailgating and getting ready to watch the Cats and getting everything there. Don't quote me on this, but I think K-State Stadium holds about 50 to 55,000 people, which ironically enough is just about how much we have in our town, all in one congested area. So be ready for that on game day traffic and things like that. So just be aware of that. And then students, obviously traffic during the school year. There's about 15 to 20,000 students that are actually in K-State. Literally during the summer, those students, most of them get pulled out. So there's literally nothing here, and that just our population drops by quite a bit. And then during the school year, obviously be aware of that and have that in your back pocket, just kind of as you're going out and about in the town. But realistically speaking, I will tell you that traffic is not as bad comparative. I've been through a lot of those. Trust me, I still get road rage like crazy. I know my wife does too. My 5-year-old son is actually repeating a couple of words, some choice words that probably shouldn't be, but he's definitely learning those from my wife and I. So, but you'll see, I mean, it really is not as bad as what most people will make it sound compared to larger cities and other things along those lines. So traffic is number 2 on our list. Number 3 on our list is the crime rate. I had a friend of mine who just posted in our Facebook group that he said that one of his favorite things is the crime rate. And he gave us this whole stat and everything what Manhattan actually is compared to the rest of the state. Manhattan has consistently, since 2003, I want to say, it was about 18 years, Manhattan has consistently been lower than the statewide crime rate and everything there. So Manhattan, generally speaking, is a very safe town. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some times where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. Cars get broken into. There is still crime. I don't want to get away from that piece of it, but we historically have been lower than the crime rate of the Manhattan or the state of Kansas as a whole. So Manhattan is a very safe town. There's not very many bad parts of town. And I've had this conversation with many clients and many people that we are looking at that piece of it where they ask me those questions. You know, what's a bad part of town? What's a good part of town? And the question or the answer is always the same. It's Manhattan. You know, it's a safe town. I've chosen to raise my family here. I've chosen to build a business here. I've chosen to actually stay here. So I genuinely think that Manhattan is a very safe place to be, safe place to raise a family, a very safe place to be as far as young professionals and college students and everything involved. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, there are some bad apples. You will see that, but that's anywhere you go. I mean, you could go to a town of 3,000 people and you're going to find drugs and alcohol and everything else involved there that you're going to be worried about with your kids too. So, but generally speaking, Manhattan is a very safe place to be, and then it is a good place to raise a family. In pairing with that, number 4 on our list, you will hear me say it over and over in a lot of my videos and everything along those lines. Manhattan is a big, small town. For some of you that don't understand that or doesn't make sure, number 1, go check out my other videos because I guarantee you I've talked about it a couple times. But what I mean by that is there's a lot of places that you can go to that somebody's going to know you. And in a small town, you aren't necessarily lost in the crowd. They're going to know you. They're going to know your kids. They're going to know your family. They're going to know what you're doing for the community. They're going to know they are here to support you, support your small business, to support your kids' teams, to support your kids' baseball teams and football teams. And you will see that a lot of that condition in this town is that there is a very tight-knit community. Don't get me wrong, there are some places where you can get lost in the crowd, but for the most part, it is a very big, small town where you still have the amenities of a bigger town. You know, we've got the movie theaters, we've got a mall, we've got most things. You shouldn't have to leave Manhattan. Heck, if you wanted to, it's not a professional sports team, but it is a D1 school where you can hit the basketball games, the baseball games, the football games, volleyball games. I mean, you can hit all of those items and still be in town where you don't necessarily have to leave. And there's a lot of people that like that piece of Manhattan, having that big small town community feel to it. And there's still a lot of smaller communities around the area that you can still inject yourself in, you know, Wamego, Manhattan, Riley, all of these areas that you can inject yourself in and be involved. So that's a big piece for a lot of people here is having that involvement and having that big small town feel. Number 5 on our list are the local restaurants and local bars. I will tell you I'll be the first one to tell you there are a lot of chains. You know, we've got the McDonald's, we've got the Sonics, we've got the Olive Gardens, we've got the Texas Roadhouse. We've got a lot of those items, a lot of those restaurants and stuff. So if you don't necessarily like the small town bars and restaurants and things like that, be aware of that piece of it. If you want to know more restaurants and things, if you check out some of our other videos, you'll see, I think it's the 8 best restaurants in town or some along those lines. I did record a video about restaurants in town too, but a lot of the local places that are not chains, they are the local people that own the restaurant. So Long Saloon, Taco Lucha, Coco Bolos, and 5 is another one. Those are just to name a few. Tap House Bar and Grill. That's another place here that's here local. And it's good food. It's such good food. And I know I may not look it sometimes, but I definitely feel it. But I love to go out and eat. It's one of my favorite things whenever we travel is to go to a different town and to check out their local bars, local restaurants, local stuff. I don't want to go to Olive Garden when I'm in New York City. I can get that at home. I don't necessarily need to go to, I'm going to go to an Italian restaurant maybe when I'm in New York City. But what I'm talking about is having that local piece and having those local bars and local restaurants and it's just good. It's good food. It's good atmosphere. My wife and I were literally just out to another one last night with the family. And I told her, I said, You know, I don't know what it is. The food's good food, but it's a very relaxed and chill vibe whenever you're just sitting at this restaurant. Again, it's a wonderful place. It's Mr. K's here in town. Food's really good. The cookie bake they have there is amazing. So that's one thing of there, but we love going there. It's a good place. It's just relaxed. There's not, you know, that's not the hustle and bustle of being in a big town or big city where it's like churning people out. They want you to sit and relax and have some drinks and be there and enjoy your time with the family. So the local bars, local restaurants, that's the next one on our list is number 5, local bars and local restaurants. Number 6 on our list is this, the views. I know that you're gonna be like, whatever, Kyle, you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't seen this, you haven't seen. Number 1, I have traveled. I promise you I have traveled, and there are definitely some better views, but it's pretty amazing to be able to drive, walk, hike, whatever it may be, 5-10 minutes outside of town, and you get the views of the rolling Flint Hills and having just amazing views. There's a scenic overlook right outside of town that's pretty amazing to check out whenever you're here. That's of the Flint Hills and stuff that way. Actually, if you check out one of my other videos, it'll give you a good shot of the views of Manhattan Hill, but the views in this town from Manhattan Hill, top of the world's another one. And I think in that video I'm talking about, you do get to see some of the views and stuff over top of Manhattan. And it's just nice. It's nice to get up and away and relax and just be away from the world for a minute and take a minute to pause on what it is and just be there, be in the moment. So anyway, views are number 6 on our list. That's one that I would recommend you check out as well. Number 7, I feel like this one is high on everybody's list right now. Everybody's biggest frustration, construction. It's the construction right now. I mean, quite literally every single time we turn around, there's another construction project, and it's usually road construction, which is fine. I appreciate it. I appreciate the city planners. I appreciate the people, the contractors that are out there doing it, but it's also so frustrating. It's so incredibly frustrating when you're trying to get across town and you get stuck in a traffic jam. Again, use that term lightly, but you get stuck in a traffic jam if you got to wait 5 to 10 minutes in a construction line. People start getting frustrated here because you're in Manhattan. Shouldn't have that stuff, you know? But literally at one point this summer, there's 3 main roads that go across town. Every single one of those roads had construction on them at one point in time. Like, you could not get across town without hitting something. It's just unbelievable. So maybe planning on that piece of it, but also paying attention to it. But that's the good side of that too, is that we're improving it. We are improving our infrastructure. We are improving our buildings. We are improving our roads. We are improving our town. People are putting money into this town and making it something, making it a better place that we can raise our families and raise our kids and be a part of this. So, so construction is one that's pretty high on most people's list. So I would pay attention to that piece of it, but that's one on our list there. Number 8. All right, so I don't want to dive deep into this one, but this is a big one that I'm finding out is a lot of people don't necessarily know about whenever they're moving to town. Being in real estate, I see a lot of this. We obviously are right in the front lines whenever you are moving to town or somebody's moving to town. So what I'm talking about here are special taxes. A lot of people do not understand what special taxes are. Number 1, they suck. I get why they do it, but it just sucks because you're paying additional money for something that you don't necessarily get to see the benefit of. So real briefly touching on it, what special taxes are, if you are in a newer build or newer neighborhood or newer development and things that way, what those special taxes are actually doing is they are coming in and paying for they're paying for those roads and utilities and curbs and guttering and lighting and stuff like that. Those typically last about 15 to 20 years. Typically I'm seeing more towards the 20-year part, and that sticks with the actual property itself. So if you find a house that's less than 20 years old, which if you're getting a new build, you obviously will, you're gonna have your general taxes and then you're gonna have your special taxes, and both of those go into making up your payment. Some places I've seen them as high as $5,000 to $6,000 more a year. Some of them I see them down around $1,000 more a year. It just kind of depends on what neighborhood and everything there. So pay attention whenever you are moving to town. Again, when you move to town, hopefully you're calling me to buy a house or my team to buy a house. But if you're not, pay attention to those special taxes. That's something that can really jack with your payment. So being aware of that is very, very important. So number 8 was taxes. Number 9, the 9th thing on our list, our last item on our list before our bonus items, is inattentive drivers. Where my explanation, this is a hypothesis, I have nothing more to prove on it other than it's this. You've got student drivers, So if, logically, if you think about it, you've got 18-year-olds, some of them even 17, 18, 19-year-olds that are just getting out on their own, just driving on their own, and don't really know. And again, a lot of what we see in Manhattan are a lot of small town kids, farm kids, people that don't necessarily drive in the city every single day, or in town every single day. You're on dirt roads. They're either texting or calling or not, just flat not paying attention. Maybe they're off in their own little world, got tests going on or something that way. So you see a lot of that. So the inattentive drivers is a big complaint for a lot of people here in town. And then on the other side of that, I will tell you, we are a military community. Please understand, this is not for everybody, but I will tell you that there's a lot of military personnel, especially younger military, that have never driven in the snow before. So you get people that are from the South, haven't really seen snow. They get up here and they're sliding all over in their Mustangs and Camaros and stuff that way, and don't necessarily know how to drive in the snow. Don't get me wrong, they learn, and they will, because you have to, but that's where the ninth one on our list is inattentive driving. And that's a big piece for a lot of people here in town. So all things that are easily got to get over, but just things to pay attention to whenever you are here. All right, so real quick, and then I'll get to the bonus things. If you are looking to buy a house or sell a house, or know somebody who's looking to buy or sell a house, get a hold of me, reach out, ask those questions. I want to talk to you. I want to help you. I want to make sure that your transition to our town is an easy one, a seamless one, and a great one. So get a hold of us, let us talk to you. I can answer any questions you may have. We can take care of you. So the two bonus items that I want to go over with you are, I'm going to go kind of a bad thing-ish, but what you're looking at are the lack of shopping. I've heard people complain about clothes shopping and things that way. So the lack of clothes shopping, and then the fact that the city does not provide trash service, which is a big one. Actually, I found this out here recently that I keep getting a lot of clients that ask all the time, they're like, well, doesn't the city handle that? Well, no, actually they don't. For me, it's normal, because in my adult life, I've been in Manhattan. But the city doesn't necessarily provide trash service. There are a bunch of private entities here in town that do provide trash service. I have to think there's some good to that, but at the same point in time, it's just another item, another bill, another monthly bill that you have to deal with too. So appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out the video. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that little bell so you get notified of any future content, and give us that like, just because it helps our channel out. But again, I do appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, please reach out. My number is 785-477-5485. My email is kyle@homesforsale.mhk.com. Reach out to me, see what we do. Otherwise, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video.